The human soldier opened his eyes slowly. Bright white lights floated above him, glowing like stars trapped in glass. He could not remember where he was. Only that pain burned through his body. The air smelled different, clean but sharp, like metal and strange medicine. He tried to move his arms, but straps held him down gently. Not tight enough to hurt, but strong enough to stop him. He heard a soft humming sound. Machines breathing around him. Voices echoed in the distance, speaking a language he could not understand. When his eyes adjusted, he saw the room. It was not a human hospital, not the kind he knew on Earth. The walls curved like the inside of a shell, smooth and glowing faint blue. Strange tools floated in the air, controlled by invisible hands. Screens showed symbols he did not know, moving too fast to follow. Then he noticed her. A tall figure moved closer, wearing a shining white uniform. Her skin shimmered like silver. Her eyes were large and dark. The alien nurse tilted her head as she looked at him. She did not smile, but her voice was calm. "You are safe now," she said in broken English. "Do not fear. We will help." The soldier blinked, his throat dry. "Where am I?" he whispered, his voice weak. The nurse pressed a glowing pad to his chest, and warmth spread through his body. "You are in the medical wing of the Orion station," she answered. Her voice was soft, but her eyes stayed fixed on him with strange curiosity. He remembered flashes of battle, stars burning above, ships exploding, fire and screams, then the sudden silence of space. Then nothing. So he must have been rescued or captured. But by who? And why? The nurse checked the screen again. Her face changed slightly, almost like surprise. She leaned closer, scanning the lower part of his body. Her hands moved quickly, but her breathing slowed. Her voice grew quiet, as if speaking to herself. "This cannot be correct," she whispered. The soldier frowned. "What is it?" he asked. But she did not answer. She only stared at the screen. Her silver skin seemed to lose its glow for a moment. She looked at him again, her eyes wide. Then she turned away quickly and tapped the wall. A panel opened, and another figure stepped inside. This one was taller, dressed in dark robes with glowing stripes. The alien doctor, his face older, his movements slower but commanding. The nurse spoke in her own tongue, sharp and urgent. The doctor raised a hand for silence and walked to the soldier's side. His large eyes scanned the human from head to toe. He touched the same glowing pad, and the screen filled with strange images. For a long moment, the doctor said nothing. Then he looked at the nurse, his expression unreadable. Finally, he said in a low voice, "Seal the room." The walls glowed brighter, and the door closed with a heavy sound. The soldier's chest tightened. He did not know why, but he felt danger in the air. The nurse glanced at him nervously, as if she had seen something impossible. "What is happening?" the soldier demanded. His voice was stronger now, fear giving him energy, but the aliens ignored his question. They spoke rapidly in their own language. The nurse's voice was shaking, the doctor's voice was hard, the machines around him beeped faster, like they too sensed the tension. The soldier pulled against his straps, but they held firm. He felt like an animal on display. The nurse stepped back, her silver skin shimmering nervously. The doctor turned away and tapped the screen again. Symbols appeared, glowing brighter and faster. Then the doctor whispered words in English as if testing them. "A hidden weapon." The soldier froze. "What do you mean?" he asked. But the doctor said no more. He only looked at the nurse, his face full of both fear and wonder. The nurse swallowed, her hands shaking slightly. She whispered again, barely audible. "If this is true, then humans are more dangerous than we believed." The soldier's heart pounded. What had they seen? What secret inside him could shock an alien nurse and make a doctor afraid? The lights dimmed, and the room grew colder. The alien doctor turned to the nurse, speaking quickly. The soldier could not understand, but he could feel the weight of their words. Something had been discovered in his body, something that changed everything. And in that moment, lying trapped in a strange hospital, The human soldier realized this was not just about survival. This was about something far greater. Something hidden deep inside humanity. A secret the aliens never expected. The alien nurse stood frozen beside the human soldier. Her silver hands hovered above the glowing screen, shaking slightly. She had examined many species before, from crystal-skinned wanderers to the hive-born insectoids, but never had she seen results like these. Her dark eyes scanned the data again and again, hoping it was a mistake. The screen showed human organs, bones, muscles, all mapped with bright light. At first, everything looked ordinary, almost too simple compared to other species. But then the readings shifted to the lower region of his body, and what she saw made her throat tighten. The soldier noticed her reaction. He tried to lift his head, his voice weak but steady. "What is it? What do you see?" The nurse did not answer at once. Her gaze locked on the impossible pattern glowing on the screen. It was not just biology. It was something deeper, something hidden inside his flesh, she whispered to herself. This should not exist. Her voice trembled as she stepped back. Her training told her to remain calm, but her instincts screamed danger. The human soldier struggled against the straps. Fear sharpened his voice. "Tell me what is happening," he demanded, but the nurse turned away, pressing her hand against the wall. The panel slid open with a hiss, and she called urgently in her own language. The alien doctor entered again, his dark robe flowing like a shadow. He walked with slow, deliberate steps, his eyes narrowing as he approached. "What have you found?" he asked in their tongue. The nurse pointed at the glowing screen, her voice sharp with panic. The doctor's gaze followed her gesture. At first his face was calm, but then his expression hardened. He leaned closer, his long fingers moving across the controls. The images zoomed in, the readings repeated. No error, no malfunction. The human body was revealing something real, something terrifying. The doctor's jaw tightened, and for a long moment he said nothing. The nurse could not contain herself. "This human carries something unknown," she whispered. "Something that no species should carry." Her eyes flicked to the soldier, then back to the screen. "Do you see it? The hidden structure? The dormant energy? It grows inside him, waiting." The doctor raised a hand, silencing her. His voice was calm but heavy. "Yes, I see it," he said slowly. "And if this is true, then humanity is not what we believed." The soldier's heart raced faster. He could not understand their language, but he could feel the weight in the room. The nurse's hands shook, her silver skin flickering with nervous light. She had sworn to heal, to protect, but for the first time she felt afraid of her own patient. The doctor tapped the wall again, and the room sealed with a deep hum. The air thickened, the lights dimmed. He turned to the nurse, his voice sharp. "No word of this leaves this chamber," he ordered. "If the council learns too soon, there will be panic." The nurse hesitated, her large eyes wide. "But this changes everything," she argued. "If humans can grow such power inside their bodies, what will they become?" The doctor stared at her, his silence more terrifying than anger. Finally, he whispered, "Perhaps that is the question the galaxy must fear." The soldier tugged at his restraints again. "What are you talking about?" he shouted. "Tell me what you found." His voice echoed against the curved walls, desperate and demanding. The nurse looked at him, torn between duty and fear. Her lips moved, but no words came out. Her mind spun with images of what might happen if this secret spread: wars, chaos, extinction. Was it her place to reveal such a truth? The doctor turned away, hiding the screen with a single command. The glowing images vanished, leaving only darkness. He looked back at the soldier with unreadable eyes. "You will rest now," he said in broken English. "You must not know yet." The soldier's blood boiled with frustration. "Not know what?" he shouted. But the nurse pressed a pad to his arm and warmth spread through him again. His anger dulled, his body weakened. Sleep tried to pull him under. Still, before his eyes closed, he caught a final glimpse of the nurse's face. her eyes full of fear, her lips trembling. She whispered one word in English barely audible. Danger. Darkness took him, but her voice stayed in his mind. A warning, a secret, a promise of something more. Whatever they had seen in him was not just biology. It was a truth too powerful for the aliens to accept, and too dangerous for humanity to ignore. The nurse stood over his resting body, her heart heavy. She knew the doctor would bury the truth, hide it from the council. But secrets never stayed buried forever, especially not one growing inside a human. The alien doctor stood tall beside the human soldier. His robe shimmered faintly in the pale blue light, and his long hands hovered over the glowing screen. For a long moment he said nothing, his large black eyes unreadable. The nurse waited, her silver skin flickering with nervous light, her breath shallow. The soldier lay strapped to the table, his eyes moving between them. He could feel tension so heavy it pressed on his chest more than the straps. He did not understand their language, but he knew fear when he saw it. The way the nurse trembled, the way the doctor's jaw tightened, something was very wrong. Finally, the doctor spoke in his own tongue, slow and deliberate. The readings cannot be ignored, he said. This is not an error, not a malfunction. He tapped the screen again, pulling the image back into view. The nurse turned her head away as if the sight itself frightened her. The soldier strained his ears, trying to catch words. But the language flowed too quickly, full of sharp clicks and soft hums. Only once did the doctor glance at him and speak in broken English. You are different, he said, his tone heavy. Different from all we have known. The soldier's throat tightened. What do you mean? What is inside me? He demanded, but the doctor ignored him. Returning to the alien tongue, the nurse answered in a whisper, her voice shaking. If this reaches the council, they will see it as a threat. The doctor nodded slowly, his eyes narrowing. The soldier felt anger rise inside him. He was tired of being treated like a specimen. Answer me, he shouted, his voice echoing off the curved walls. The machines around him beeped louder as if reacting to his pulse. But the doctor raised a hand calmly and the noise died down. The nurse stepped closer to the doctor, lowering her voice. What shall we do with him? She asked. If the council learns of this, they will order his destruction, perhaps the destruction of all humans. The doctor studied the soldier's face carefully. For the first time, there was no fear in his eyes, only curiosity. He is still weak, the doctor said, but his biology hides something dangerous, something we cannot yet explain. He leaned closer to the soldier, staring into his eyes as though searching for answers inside. You are not like the others we have studied, he whispered in English. You carry something hidden. The soldier clenched his fists against the straps. What hidden thing? Tell me, he demanded. But again, the doctor offered no clear answer. Instead, he turned to the nurse, his voice low. This knowledge must remain here, he ordered. No one outside this room is to know. The nurse hesitated, her lips parting in protest. But if this grows, if it awakens, we will not be able to stop it. Her voice shook with both awe and fear. The doctor's gaze hardened. Then we must understand it before it awakens, he replied. Knowledge is the only shield we have. The soldier's heartbeat thundered in his ears. Every word he caught only deepened the mystery. Hidden, dangerous, awakening. What had they found inside him? Was he sick, infected, or was it something else entirely? The nurse turned away, rubbing her hands together. She could not shake the image on the screen. It had looked alive, as though something inside the human's body pulsed with its own will. Not a disease, not a weapon, but something in between, something waiting. The doctor placed a hand on the wall, activating another layer of security. The room darkened further, the hum of energy sealing them off from the rest of the station. We will study him here, he said firmly. No communication, no reports, until we know the truth. The soldier's chest tightened. He felt like a prisoner in a cage of light. But deep inside, a spark of defiance flared. He would not be their experiment, not their secret. He needed to know what they feared. The nurse approached again, her eyes soft but troubled. She leaned down slightly, whispering in English this time. You must be strong, she said. What lives inside you? It may change everything. The soldier's eyes widened. Her words confirmed what his instincts already told him. This was not a sickness, not an injury. It was something the aliens had never seen before. Something that made even a trained nurse tremble. The doctor cut in sharply, pulling her back. "No more words to the subject," he commanded. His tone carried authority that even the trembling nurse dared not resist. He turned to his instruments, preparing new scans. But his face betrayed him for a moment, curiosity mixed with fear. The soldier lay still, but inside his mind a storm raged. He replayed every battle, every wound, every moment leading to this place. Why him? Why now? And what secret could be buried in his body that made aliens fear humanity itself? The machines began to hum louder, bathing him in waves of light. The doctor whispered to himself, words the soldier could not understand. But the tone was unmistakable. He was witnessing something impossible. The nurse stepped back into the shadows, her eyes fixed on the soldier. Her heart told her one truth she could not deny. Whatever grew inside this human would not remain hidden forever. The alien doctor watched the human soldier with steady eyes. The machines hummed, filling the room with soft blue light. Strange symbols moved across the glowing screen. Shifting and rewriting themselves, the nurse stood beside him, her silver skin trembling with faint ripples of light. The soldier's chest rose and fell, his breaths uneven. He tried to look calm, but his mind burned with questions. Every whisper, every fearful glance between the nurse and doctor only fed his growing unease. He wanted answers, but none came. The doctor turned to the nurse and spoke in his own tongue. "This cannot be random," he said. "Look closely. This structure in the human's body is not natural by accident." The nurse leaned in, her eyes wide as she studied the moving patterns. "It is too organized," she whispered, almost like a code written inside his flesh. The soldier frowned, catching fragments of their tone, though not their words. "Code?" he repeated aloud, struggling to understand. The doctor glanced at him, his expression dark. "You would not know," he said in broken English. "Your kind does not yet see it." The soldier's heart pounded. "What don't we see?" he demanded, but the doctor ignored him, turning back to the nurse. He pointed at the screen where bright strands of light twisted together like vines. "These sequences do not match any other species we know," he explained. "They are dormant, waiting, yet they pulse as if alive." The nurse covered her mouth, her voice soft and fearful. "Then it is true," she said. "Humanity is not finished evolving." Her words made the air heavier, pressing against the silence of the chamber. The soldier pulled against his restraints. "Evolving?" he repeated. "What are you talking about?" His voice cracked between anger and fear, but again, the doctor's gaze swept over him like he was more puzzle than person. The nurse turned away from the screen, whispering in her native tongue. "If this is what humans carry inside, then their potential is limitless." The doctor gave a slow nod. "And limitless potential is the greatest danger of all." The soldier's throat tightened. He had always thought of humans as fragile compared to other species. They had no claws like predators, no wings like flyers, no armored skin like giants, and yet humans had spread through war, fire, and survival. Was this the reason why? Was something hidden deep inside their blood the true weapon of their kind? The doctor's voice broke the silence, calm but heavy. "Evolution is slow for most races," he explained. "They change only across thousands of cycles." His black eyes locked on the human soldier. "But your species changes faster," the nurse added in a whisper. "Too fast," the soldier shook his head. "That's impossible," he said. But the nurse's gaze told him it was not a lie. The screen behind them pulsed again, showing faint lines that glowed brighter each time his heart beat. The dormant structure was not still, it was growing, shifting as though responding to the moment. The doctor's voice dropped lower. "This is not simply reproduction," he said. "It is not survival of flesh alone." He leaned closer to the screen, his voice almost reverent. "This is a genetic weapon, hidden inside every human body." The soldier froze, his breath shallow. "A weapon?" he repeated, his mind raced. Trying to understand, he had fought with rifles, blades, and ships, but never thought his own body could be a weapon. Yet the way they looked at him, the way they whispered, it was as if he carried a bomb inside his blood. The nurse turned, her voice cracking. "If humanity continues like this, what will they become?" She stared at the soldier as though seeing him for the first time. Not prey, not predator, but something beyond. The doctor straightened his back. His voice turned harsh, cold as steel. "The council must never learn of this, not yet," he said firmly. "If they discover that humans evolve with such speed, they will order their destruction." The nurse's eyes widened. "But what if it cannot be stopped?" she whispered. "What if this is only the beginning?" The soldier felt heat rise inside his chest. He did not know whether it was fear or pride. But a strange thought grew in his mind. If humanity carried this secret all along, then maybe their struggles, their survival, their victories against impossible odds, it was no accident. Maybe humans were destined for something greater. The doctor shut down the screen with a wave of his hand. The glowing patterns vanished. Leaving only dim blue light, he looked at the soldier, his face cold but uncertain. "You are not ready to know," he said in English, "but one day, your kind will discover." The soldier clenched his fists, his mind burning with rage. "I deserve to know now," he shouted. But his voice only echoed back at him. Swallowed by the curved walls, the nurse turned away, her silver skin trembling as if she too felt the weight of the truth. For the first time, the soldier understood the fear in their eyes. They were not afraid of his weapons, his ships, or his armies. They were afraid of what slept inside his body, something that belonged not only to him, but to all of humanity. A secret evolution, waiting in silence, and as he lay there, strapped down in a room filled with alien whispers, the soldier realized one terrifying truth. The aliens were not keeping him alive to heal him. They were keeping him alive to study him, because whatever was hidden in his body might decide the fate of the galaxy. Far above the alien medical station, the council chamber floated like a crystal star in orbit. Its walls shimmered with living light, and its great table stretched in a perfect circle. Around it sat the leaders of many worlds, their eyes sharp, their voices heavy with authority. The message from the Orion station had reached them. Though it was meant to remain secret, someone had leaked fragments of the medical scans, and now whispers filled the chamber like restless ghosts. The council leader, a towering figure with obsidian skin and golden eyes, raised his hand for silence. "We gather," he said, his voice deep and commanding. "We gather to discuss the matter of humanity." A murmur spread across the chamber. Some delegates leaned forward with fear, others with anger. The human race had always been seen as young, reckless, and too ambitious for their fragile bodies. But the leaked images showed something else, something hidden in their biology, a dormant evolution that could awaken at any moment. The nurse's warning words echoed silently in her own mind. She had been summoned to the chamber, forced to stand before the circle of leaders. Her silver skin flickered under their sharp stares. She bowed her head and spoke in a trembling voice. "I did not intend to reveal it, but the discovery is true." Her words cut through the air like a blade. The council leader leaned forward, his golden eyes burning. "Speak clearly, healer," he demanded. "What lives inside the human body that makes your hands shake?" The nurse swallowed hard, her voice barely steady. "Inside them lies a genetic structure unlike any we have seen," she said. "It is not active yet, but it grows, waiting. Like a seed planted by nature itself." The chamber filled with sharp whispers. One delegate slammed a hand on the table, his scaled skin flashing red with rage. "If humans are capable of evolving weapons inside their own bodies, they are a threat to every world," he shouted. "Do not forget they are already warlike, already dangerous." Another delegate, a pale creature with crystal veins glowing faintly, raised her voice calmly. "We cannot judge them so quickly," she said. "Potential does not equal destruction. Perhaps this is not a weapon, but a gift." Her words met with laughter from across the table, cruel and mocking. "A gift?" one barked. "Tell that to the colonies they burned during their rise into space." The nurse lowered her head, shame burning in her chest though she was not human. She could still see the human soldier's eyes in her memory. Full of confusion and fear, he did not ask to be born with such a secret. Yet now the galaxy debated whether his kind should live or die. The council leader raised his hand again, silencing the room. "Enough," he said firmly. "The truth is this. If humans carry a hidden evolution, then it belongs to all of them, not just one soldier." He let the words hang heavy in the chamber before finishing. "And if all of them hold this power, then all of them are a threat." The nurse gasped softly, her voice trembling as she stepped forward. "No, you do not understand," she pleaded. "This trait is not yet awakened. It may take cycles, perhaps even centuries, to fully emerge." The leader's golden eyes locked on her. "Or perhaps only days," he replied coldly. The chamber erupted again, some shouting for immediate action, others demanding caution. One delegate raised the idea of containment, to isolate Earth and trap humanity before they spread further. Another demanded extermination, to burn the seed before it grew into a tree. Fear and anger twisted together until the air itself shook. But in one corner of the circle, a quiet voice spoke. It belonged to an old delegate, his body thin, his eyes soft with wisdom. He had seen countless wars, countless extinctions. Fear blinds us, he said slowly. Every species carries something unknown. Every race grows in ways we cannot predict. He leaned forward, his voice heavy with warning. If we strike at humanity now, we may ignite a war we cannot win. The chamber grew silent at his words. Even those who hated humans could not deny their resilience, small, fragile, unarmored. Yet humans had survived disasters that killed stronger races. If their hidden evolution was real, then their survival would be even harder to stop. The council leader's golden eyes narrowed. He stood slowly, his shadow stretching long across the chamber. We cannot ignore this, he said, his tone final. Humanity is no longer a minor race. They are a threat to the balance of the galaxy. He turned his gaze across the circle. We must prepare. The nurse's heart sank. She wanted to speak, to defend the soldier who had looked at her not as an enemy but as a person. But the chamber had already decided. The question was no longer if humans were dangerous. It was what to do about them. The council's voices lowered into private discussion. Some planned containment, others whispered of war. But one truth filled every corner of the chamber like a shadow. Humanity's secret evolution had been revealed. And now the galaxy would never see them the same again. The soldier's eyes opened slowly. The world around him swam in blue light. Shadows bending across curved walls, his body felt heavy, his arms and legs still strapped to the glowing table. But his mind was no longer clouded. The drug they used on him had begun to fade. He blinked hard, forcing himself to focus. Voices drifted through the room, soft, urgent whispers in the alien tongue. He recognized the nurse's voice. Trembling, uncertain, and the doctor's, calm but sharp like a blade. They did not know he was awake. The soldier kept his breathing slow, pretending to be weak, but inside his chest, his heart beat like a drum of war. He caught fragments of their words, and though he did not understand the language, the tone was clear. Fear, debate, and something darker. The nurse stepped closer, her silver skin shimmering faintly. He grows stronger, she said in broken English. Almost like a warning, the doctor shot her a look of anger. But the words were already spoken. The soldier froze, his mind racing. What did she mean by stronger? Was it his recovery, or was it the secret they feared inside him? The doctor tapped the wall, and a projection filled the room. It showed images of stars, of Earth surrounded by alien symbols. He pointed to it, speaking quickly. The soldier caught only one word in English. Council. His stomach tightened. The council, whoever they were, now knew. The nurse's voice lowered, but he could still hear the shake in her tone. If they fear his kind, they will destroy them, she said softly. The soldier's blood ran cold. Destroy them, destroy humanity. His people had no idea what danger was rising above their heads. Rage gave him strength. He pulled against the straps again, harder this time. The glowing bands resisted but flexed under the pressure of his muscles. The machines beeped loudly. Drawing the nurse's attention, she turned quickly, her dark eyes widening as she saw his half-open stare. You should rest, she whispered urgently. But there was no rest left inside him, only fire. What are they planning? He demanded, his voice low but fierce. The nurse flinched, torn between silence and truth. Her lips parted, but the doctor cut in, his voice harsh. No more words to him. The soldier narrowed his eyes at the doctor. Tell me what you found in me, he growled. Tell me what makes you so afraid. The doctor ignored him, pressing a sequence on the wall. The straps tightened around the soldier's body, glowing brighter, but this time, he did not stop fighting. Every ounce of strength, every memory of survival, every battle he had endured, all of it surged through him. The straps creaked under the pressure. The doctor's eyes widened in shock. He should not be this strong so soon, he muttered. The nurse stepped back, torn between fear and awe. The soldier's teeth clenched, his voice rising. You think I'm your experiment? He spat. You think I don't understand, but I do. I've seen fear before, and you're drowning in it. The glowing band around his wrist snapped with a sharp crack. Sparks danced in the air, and the machine screamed with alarms. The nurse gasped, her silver skin flashing bright. The doctor shouted a command, calling for guards. But before the doors opened, the nurse rushed forward, her hand on the control pad. With one motion, she dimmed the restraints, loosening them. The soldier stared at her in shock. "Why?" he asked, his voice rough. Her answer came in a whisper, trembling but firm. "Because if your people are to survive, they must know the truth." The door slid open, guards in dark armor stepping inside, weapons raised. The doctor pointed at the soldier, shouting orders. The nurse grabbed the soldier's arm, pulling him free. "Run!" she urged. The soldier did not hesitate. He lunged forward, slamming into the first guard with the weight of desperation. The alien stumbled back, weapon clattering to the floor. The soldier scooped it up, unfamiliar in design but deadly in purpose. Blue light shimmered along its edge, humming like a living thing. He aimed it, forcing the guards to hesitate. "Move, and you fall," he growled, his voice steady now. The doctor's face twisted with fury. "You don't understand what you carry," he shouted. The soldier's eyes burned with defiance. "Maybe I don't," he answered, "but I know this. If you're afraid of it, then it must be worth protecting." The nurse guided him toward the exit. Her hands trembled, but her voice was steady. "There is a shuttle," she whispered. "Take it. Warn your world before the council makes its choice." Together they ran through the glowing corridors, alarms blaring around them. The station shook with the sound of pursuit, guards rushing in every direction. But the soldier's determination burned brighter than fear. He was no longer just a patient, no longer just a victim. He was a messenger carrying the survival of humanity, and deep inside his chest something stirred, a heat that was not just adrenaline, not just rage. It was the dormant secret the doctor had feared, a hidden strength pulsing inside him, answering the moment. Awakening. The corridors of the alien station shook with alarms. Red lights flashed across the smooth walls, and a deep warning siren echoed like a heartbeat of danger. The human soldier ran beside the alien nurse, his stolen weapon humming in his hands. Every step pounded with urgency, every breath burned with fire. Behind them, guards shouted in their strange language, boots striking the floor in heavy rhythm. The nurse glanced back, fear flashing in her dark eyes. "They are closing in," she whispered. The soldier gritted his teeth, his jaw set hard. "Then we move faster," he growled. The corridor split into two glowing tunnels. The nurse pulled him left, her silver skin flickering with light. "This way, the shuttle bay is near," she urged. The soldier tightened his grip on the weapon. Keeping it ready, he did not know how it worked, but instinct told him it would kill. As they ran, the soldier's mind raced. The council knew. The doctor knew. The nurse knew. And now he knew too. Something lived inside him. Inside all of humanity. Something the galaxy feared. Something that was awakening. They turned a corner and two guards blocked the path. Their weapons raised. Blue light flared as they fired, bolts of energy slicing through the air. The soldier dove forward, rolling across the floor. The nurse pressed against the wall, shielding herself. He raised the alien weapon, pulling the trigger with raw instinct. A burst of white fire exploded, striking one guard and hurling him against the wall. The second guard froze, shocked by the human's ferocity. That hesitation was enough. The soldier charged, slamming his shoulder into the alien, sending him sprawling. The nurse stared, breathless. "You fight like no other species," she whispered. The soldier turned to her, his eyes burning. "Maybe that's why they fear us," he said. His words cut through the tension like steel. They pushed forward, racing down another corridor. The sirens grew louder, the lights flashing faster. The nurse's voice shook as she whispered, "The council will not stop. They will hunt you. Hunt your people." The soldier clenched his fists around the weapon. "Then they'll learn what happens when humanity fights back," he answered coldly. At last, they reached the shuttle bay. The massive chamber opened before them, filled with sleek ships resting in rows. Some glowed faintly as if alive, their hulls shifting with strange light. Others sat in silence, waiting. The nurse pointed quickly. "There. Take that one. It is small. Fast. It may get you out. but the sound of boots thundered behind them. A squad of armored guards poured into the chamber, their weapons raised. The soldier cursed under his breath, pulling the nurse behind a stack of cargo. Bolts of energy flew past, searing the air with heat. The nurse ducked low, trembling. "We cannot fight them all," she whispered. The soldier's jaw tightened, his mind racing. "Then we don't fight them. We outsmart them," he said. He glanced at the cargo crates, glowing faintly with alien symbols. He fired at one, and it exploded in a burst of gas and light. The guard stumbled back, blinded by the blast. "Move!" the soldier shouted, grabbing the nurse's arm. Together they sprinted toward the nearest shuttle. The ramp lowered with a hiss as the nurse pressed her hand against the control pad. They rushed inside, the doors sealing behind them. The soldier dropped into the pilot's seat, staring at strange symbols glowing across the controls. "I don't know how to fly this thing," he admitted. The nurse stepped beside him, her hands moving quickly across the panel. "I will guide you," she said firmly. Her fear was still there, but so was something else, a spark of resolve. The engines roared to life, the floor vibrating under them. Outside, the guards regrouped, firing at the shuttle's hull. Bolts of blue energy ricocheted off the metal. Shaking the ship, the nurse shouted, "Lift now or we will not escape." The soldier slammed his hand on the control, and the shuttle surged upward. Gravity pressed them down as the ship shot toward the hangar doors. The doctor appeared on the platform below, his dark robe whipping in the wind. His voice carried through the bay, full of anger. "You cannot run from what you are," he shouted. The soldier's eyes narrowed as he gripped the controls tighter. "Watch me," he growled. The shuttle blasted forward. Smashing through the energy barrier at the edge of the bay, stars exploded into view, endless and brilliant. The alarms faded behind them, replaced by the steady hum of engines. The soldier exhaled, his chest burning from the rush. They were free. For now. The nurse placed a hand on his arm, her eyes meeting his. "You must understand," she whispered. "What lives inside you is not just strength. It is change. It is the future of your kind." The soldier stared back at her, his voice low but steady. "Then the galaxy will see what we become," he said, "and they'll have to decide if they stand with us or against us." The nurse looked away, her eyes heavy with fear and hope. "You are not just escaping," she said softly. "You are carrying a message, a warning and a beginning." The soldier turned his gaze to the stars, his jaw hard. He knew she was right. What grew inside him was not his alone. It belonged to all of humanity, and the galaxy would soon learn the truth.